We continue our back to school coverage by highlighting Granite School District and the work that it's doing to welcome kids back to the classroom. For more on that, we welcome Superintendent Rich Nye to the show. He oversees one of the largest school districts in the state with schools in cities like West Valley, Taylorsville, South Salt Lake, and Magna, just to name a few. Dr. Nye, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Glenn. My pleasure.
Let's get right into it. You've got a lot of students, as we mentioned, one of the biggest districts in the state. So what are you doing to welcome them back safely when they come back to class?
Well, we learned a lot last year about how to operate schools during a global pandemic, and so we're utilizing many of the same strategies that we used last year, anything from hygiene and sanitation to personal protective equipment, where we are encouraging the use of masks per the county health department's recommendations, and looking at things like physical distancing again, where we're looking at seating charts and transitions between periods, lunchroom and recess, and those opportunities to maximize the opportunity to reduce the transmission of COVID-19.
When you talk about lessons learned from last year, we know that failing grades went up significantly. A part of that had to do with learning, off campus and at home. So what improvements have been made to online learning to make sure that kids are getting the information and retaining the information they need?
Well, it's an ongoing effort as we're obviously continuing to experience the impacts of COVID on those learning opportunities. And so as we engage this year, there are options. We work on extended learning opportunities. We're identifying ways to meet the needs of students and parents based on what those are, knowing that for some they experienced several quarantine periods. We improved and enhanced our distance learning opportunities for families and initiated a Granite Online Live, where students are able to participate virtually if their parents and their children determine that's in their best interest and how they might receive educational services.
So as it stands right now, where you're recommending masks, is that your recommendation to those students who may be at risk, is to look at those online opportunities?
Certainly if it works for them. Online learning opportunities work for many students, but for others they simply don't. And so when we think about the experience of the transmission of COVID last year and lessons learned, as mentioned, masks are a part of that. Our health departments are at this time making that recommendation, and so we will encourage that to the extent that we operate within public health orders and state law.
This isn't the ideal time to be a student right now with all this adjusting and everything that's going on. Talk mental health and help that's available for both students and staff.
Part of our planning does address just that, right? It's that student wellness, it's the adult wellness, as it's taken a toll on multiple fronts. And we've incorporated and invested in strategies to address mental health, prevent mental health where we can. And part of that is making sure that our students and staff have the resources they need and licensed clinical social workers, wellness strategies, and connected other resources.
Fall sports already underway. What do we need to know when it comes to sports and any protocols there?
Similar to last year, we are, whether it's a practice, making sure that students or athletes in this case, student athletes are cohorting a little bit differently. They're not associating with as many students on the playing field, and we, in terms of protocol, follow hygiene and sanitation procedures as we did last year to make sure that they can stay on the field or the court.
What about school hours? Can we expect those to be consistent with what we've seen in previous years?
Yes, very much a 5-day school week, looking at different opportunities to create hybrid schedules for students where it fits together, but by and large we are looking at a similar school schedule to be able to maintain the continuity of educational services for students and their families.
Okay, we have a little less than a minute left, but I'd like to get your thoughts on what you want students and their parents to know when it comes to this being a team effort and keeping schools open.
Well, I would say as educators, we partner with parents in raising children and providing the educational supports that they need. And we try to meet the students and the parents, their families, where they're at. And we do it within the guardrails of public health orders, the guardrails of state statute and what's in the law. And so really it's coming together for those vested interests to provide a safe and nurturing learning environment for students.
We have a hard out time. We appreciate your time, Dr. Rich Nye with the Granite School District. Thanks so much, and we hope to see you back here tonight at 10 o'clock.